Conversations with Jay Jones.
Community conversations.
Community, there you go.
And it should be going live now.
Is it just you and I?
Yeah, it's just me and you, Bubba.
Okay, got you.
We are live, man. We are live, my friend.
All right.
So while we do this, let me go ahead and take a couple of minutes to get everybody up on the group.
All right.
Mm-hmm. You see it on your page? You see it?
I see it on your page. I'm going to go on. I'm on your page to sharing it directly from you.
Okay. I'm going to gallery view now. All right, we got 6 people watching. You already started sharing it on yours yet?
I just hit share.
Okay.
Well, I forgot to type on it, so I'm going to share it again with Community Conversations with Jay Jones.
Okay.
I just hit share. Okay.
All right. Ms. Z, how you doing? I see my sisters joined in. This Community Conversations with Jay. Man, I got excellent guests with me today. We're going to do these one-on-ones until we get some audiences rolling.
Gotcha.
A good friend of mine. I'm still getting used to saying it. I used to call him Big Chris. Coming on up the last, 10, 12 years knowing him. But
yeah,
now we call him Dr. Big Chris. But we're going to say Dr. Christopher Pugh is in the building, y'all. He had to go through a lot of social injustice struggles going on as far as getting that PhD that he has. But I am super proud of this young man. This is one of my mentees.
Yes, sir.
One of my mentors too. So, the struggle is real, but you know what? The imbalance is even better. And so,
most definitely,
God put us through reasons. He put us through struggle. He put people who in conflict in front of us because you know why? That's what makes us strong and that's what makes us better. And if we fall prey to them kind of people, then guess what? We are falling prey to what the devil has in order. And you know what? I didn't say this 1,000 times before. I'm gonna say 1,000 times again. I am super proud of you as a young man who fought through those struggles. Right there, that university, 45 miles away. I'm gonna let you talk about the university. I ain't gonna say nothing bad about the university. I might have to go there and get a law degree or something like that. So, but struggles you had to go through there, man, I am super proud of you, man. And we're gonna make that PhD, that real PhD, make it happen, man. He's been a blessing to the community in Statesboro. He's been a blessing to the community, to the greatest fraternity ever in life, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. He has been a mentor for all kind of young men. Ever since he crossed in 05 and all the way from 05 going on 15 years. Damn, you've been in the frat 15 years, Q.
Old, dog. I'm old.
No, I'm old. I've been in the frat 25 years. You've been in the frat 15 years, Q, man.
No, that's another level of pro fight, dog.
and it's been a blessing, man. You have been inspiration to a ton of young men. And my thing is, we talked about the other day how you didn't stop being inspiration. You inspire somebody to take your realm, take your shoes, and take the inspiration you got and take it to a whole nother level. And the one thing you said to me when you said that, you said, hey, man, you proud of him moving the narrative even stronger than where you left it at as far as the trademark is concerned.
Oh, definitely.
And I think if a lot more Black people came with that mentality in our community, I think we can grow and prosper a whole lot better. So I'm going to stop the kudo points, my friend. And I'll let you go ahead and talk about some things as far as the PhD is concerned while you're doing that, or things you're doing in the community while you're doing that. Then I'll go ahead and get the listing, get some people in the audience, and let's go ahead and get this thing motivated. So go ahead and tell them who you really are outside of what I just said, brother.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation, man, and thank you for the things that you said. A lot of those things that I had accomplished, I received a ton of help from people like you, a lot of mentors that I had along the way, coaches, uncles, father figures, my own father, aunts, just teachers, educators. And I just said all of that really just mean my village, because if it takes a village to raise a child, I came from a damn good village. So I want to give a shout out to my village, just the people who are present and people who are in the past, whether we just cross paths and one day you probably gave me something that I needed that day to get to me to this day that we're talking right now. So even if you was a stranger that just gave me a word of uplift, or if you gave me challenges in my life that made me go to a whole nother level, you are in my village too. We may not have to talk, we may not have to like each other, but you are a part of my support system because you probably gave me something that I had to figure out how to get through. And based off those experiences, I'm allowed to give those to children and other adults who want to raise functional children. And so I'm very thankful, man. Very appreciative about my experiences. God is real. God is good.
All the time.
Hey, man, everybody's God is not the same, but the one I serve is the one my grandmother serves. So, and she's one of the strongest people I know. And, everything is everything. So I'm thankful, but I am serious. I'm learning, and I'm not afraid of my mistakes, but I'm not afraid of my triumphs either. So that's pretty much it. So just like you said, I just recently earned my doctorate in curriculum studies from Georgia Southern University in 2019. I'm a current diversity and educational context instructor in the College of Education, where I teach students who are figuring out if they want to be teachers. They're going into this block called pre-professional block, where some of those students are actually student teachers, where they go into Bullitt County and surrounding counties just to get that on the ground experience, how to interact with teachers, how to interact with kids and parents. And what I do is I actually teach a diversity course, which helps them understand different types of cultures and how to, first of all, listen, but then how to communicate as well. So a lot of people may think talking is communication. Now, communication is the act of listening and then sharing information in a way that people can understand it. What I found out is that most arguments stem from people trying to prove that they're right instead of a discussion that I can prove that I heard you. You know what I mean? So what I find, I know our topic tonight is about social injustice. There are a lot of social inaccuracies and miscommunications that lead to social injustice. And I want to really talk about that because most of our conversations in that course is based off simple forms and strategies of functional and effective communication. That's where it boils down to. It's hard to get justice when two people are lying, and the only time where they can feel like they've been heard is if they can scream their lie the loudest. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And one thing that we're going to talk about tonight is how children are affected, because regardless of how we feel that we are as people, what we're doing to our children is what's going to really matter later on. Because think about it, our children may not have the words to express how they feel right now, but they're going to have the actions to express how they feel. So right now, I don't expect everyone to do the same thing, but what I've learned is how to hold myself accountable for what I say to a child, because literally that's going to be something I'm going to have to either benefit from or suffer from later on in life. Mm-hmm. The world is small. All of us have seen children that we've met a long time ago, and we see them as adults, and we're going to interact with them. I've seen, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've had an interaction with every adult who's ever said anything negative with me or negative to me. Some type of interaction. I didn't plan it. It's just we cross paths after a while, and you get that head tilt like, wow, you made it, or you're at this position, or, I thought something was going to happen to you by now. And now I just got that smile on my face. Uh-huh. Not that I told you so, but it's confirmation that what you told me didn't work. You know what I mean? Those are people that gave me the challenges that made me make a decision whether I was going to grow or was I going to die off. So, regardless, and I want to tell people, whoever listening, hopefully it's some child or a parent or a teacher, this world is made up of positive and negative energy. It's what you do with that energy is going to put you in your next step in life. So we could live in a perfect world where everybody just give you positive energy, But I will tell you this: if everybody's smiling and acting like they like you, that means somebody's lying.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that means somebody's lying. So I'd rather have me some folks that don't like me, that don't want to lie to me, than a whole bunch of people act like they like me and they setting me up behind closed doors.
Yeah, man. And you know, we talk about this all the time, you know, how we close out when we call each other, how we start off a conversation, how we talk about, and we force the narrative to make sure that we stay true friends. And
yeah, man, got to earn that friendship. That friendship is daily. Friendship is daily.
And my thing, before we get into the questioning conversation, you know, just give candid conversation. You know, it's surprising and it's uplifting for you to say that. You know, I have gotten to a point in life where I have limited my social circles. Part of the reason being is, you know, this society, this day and age, everything is about relationship. We already know that, but a lot of times within those relationship structures, we also understand that people also come into your life with a tendency to pull something away from you. And so when you introduce new people into your life or into your circle, you got to be cognizant to being examining of what they're coming into your life for, what kind of angle they're trying to get out you, what kind of juice they're trying to get out you, you know, and all those kind of things. And you know, a lot of people perpetrate the fraud, And the thing about my heart, I'm sorry, Dr. Pugh.
No, hey man, it's Big Chris, man. Let's dog. If we're gonna save some people,
I got you.
Some people call me Big Chris, dog.
I got you. The biggest thing I got as far as that is concerned is, man, God has made my heart a humble heart, and a lot of times making my heart a humble heart later on in my life. You know the old Jay Jones, because you met me 13 years ago. You know, you met me years ago. But you know, having a child, getting married, a lot of things, man. How I used to be able to react to things, I don't react to those things like I used to, because you know, I'm 45 years old, man, 25 years in the brat. You know, I got a kid, I got to manipulate and make sure he hustled me harder than I hustle him. You know, I got a wife who hustles me harder than I hustle her. You know, when you got all these different variables in your life, man, it changes your scope. And so how I react, even on social media, is not like I used to be able to react on social media, because I'm protected of a brand. I'm protecting a brand. A lot of people will say, Chris, that I try to keep secrets, or I try to keep narratives quiet or closed or anything like that. But you know who taught me that? The frat taught me that. Frat taught me a long time ago, you don't put all conversations out there in the world, because when you put all conversations out in the world, people can't handle that kind of situation.
Yeah.
But you know what? Oh man, you're not being transparent. You're not telling the world this. You're not telling the world that. But it's not that I don't want to tell the world. It's the fact that I don't care if anybody tried to damage my brand. But you know what? I'm not gonna go toe to toe and damage somebody else's brand out there. And part of that is a part of the conversation we talk about today, because social injustice plays into those parts. And when I say social justice plays in those parts, you know, we automatically assume, we automatically know, we already understand that social justice affects bigger populations than other population sets, number one. It's all about sometimes cases of privilege. We had that conversation tonight. We want to talk about privilege. We can talk about that conversation about ignorance, as far as ignorance of a community not understanding that they're being plagued on, as far as social justice and injustice is concerned. I talked about it today. You know, it was crazy, Chris, when I my father asked me to go to Russo's to get him those devil crabs. And I went over to the Russo's to get him 10 devil crabs. And you know what? I'm looking at the audience when I'm there, and everybody in there is the same color as me when I go there. So then I go by the Shell House on the south side, which does the same kind of stuff. Everybody there is us. And I go to Bobo's. Guess what, Chris? Everybody there is us. So I'm like, man, well, where the black-owned seafood restaurants at? And then I call some people and find out that we do have one or two in the community. But this ain't, once again, this ain't about race. But I'm gonna get to a point where I'm about to talk about. It's about equity. Because the fact is, if we got this many people eating at these kind of establishments, then why aren't we creating the level of establishment to cover our own bases? Why aren't we doing what we need to do to keep revenue re-energized and reflowing in our community at least 5 times? Because in my case, what I'm seeing is it's not even leaving your pocket, and it's not even staying in your community.
Right.
And my thing is, I'm not saying I'm not supportive of businesses outside of black-owned businesses. However, I do understand that poverty levels in Chatham County exist.
Yeah.
And it's higher on those people who are black and brown skin tone. And guess what? Part of that narrative is us going out there and creating jobs, creating opportunity, workforce opportunities, and everything like that. But another big part of it is making sure we're hitting the educational levels, not stopping at the 16-year-old dropping out of high school. But making sure those kids, if they drop out of high school, make sure they're getting some kind of GED program, some kind of workforce program where they can go in and pick up a trade, where they're not life sources who are downplaying the narrative in our community, but they're life sources to, I guess, help out the narrative in our community. And, and what I'm seeing is that vicious cycle is going on and on and on and on. And part of that whole program, part of the whole plan is based on, guess what we do in our own community. So, you know, I didn't did my talking. I just want to give you an opportunity so I can go grab my soda and let you have a chance to speak. But you know, the topic today is about social injustice.
Right.
And basically, we came, you know, my mother's going to be proud. She on the call, Chris. So you can say hi to Miss Jones. So she on the call somewhere. So I saw on the line.
Mother Jones.
Basically, I came up with the acronym SICK. Social injustice, conflicting, controlling, and committing against kids. And so basically, I'm tired of us being sick in our community. And my thing is, we can talk and we can address all those adults and all those scenes we want to address in the world. But I really want to focus really hardcore on the generation that comes after us and those kids. I know you have a passion and a heart for, because you work with those schools down there in Bullitt County. I see you all the time with that. You know, I work with the schools here. I have, and I will admit, Chris, I have been off the rocker with it the last year and a half, but I know with me being able to retire, I'm getting ready to refocus that whole energy come 2021 and refocus my plan as far as making sure I get back out there with these kids. And I have a bigger mentality, a bigger plateau as far as this concerned. I get to come off all these boards. I get to come off all this stuff right here. And man, I get Jay, man, the old Jay, back in the community doing my thing. You know, I ain't really focused on politics no more. I ain't focused on life no more. I'm gonna be a PTA president. I'm gonna be at my child's school. I'm gonna be my wife's best friend. I want to get back to those things in life, man. And you know, I appreciate and applaud the efforts of being in this seat. And I still got 6 months left to go. And there's a lot of boards and stuff like associated to that. But I'm about to retire. I might come up to Georgia Southern, move in an apartment, and just go and get my PhD, man. Because you know what? That might be what I need to do. Because you know what? It's so much more that we can do in this community. It's so much growth we can do in this community. And I just want to make those kind of things happen. So back to what I'm off my rant. Back to what the topic at hand is, social injustice, man. Just go ahead and give me a breakdown of how social injustice actually affects these young people, especially the real baby young people, and matriculate that up to high school age kids if you could for me, dog.
Well, I'll put like this. What I like to do when I engage in the conversation, I like to break words down so we can add context. And one thing I try my best not to do, even though I fail at it sometimes, I try not to confuse my audience.
I agree.
So my attempt is saying social means the group of people that we're around at this moment, right? The living people at this moment. And injustice means to me that someone is being mistreated. You know?
You're right.
Someone is being abused.
You're right.
Someone is not happy about their current condition, regardless if they're empowered to change it or if they have no power at all to change it. That means someone is still being mistreated. That's what I hear about the word injustice. So based off social injustice, just to make sure that I get that correct and my intent behind the meaning of those words, that's what I want my audience to understand. That's where I'm coming from. I do know that people have their own meanings of words, so I just want to let them know that's what I mean when I hear that. Social,
your meaning, I got you.
Yeah, the people that we're on the planet with right now, and throughout those different groups of people and individuals, some people are being mistreated on a small scale, middle scale, and grand scale, whether they can improve their conditions on their own or if they have no power at all or no status at all. All right. How does that social injustice affect children? Well, Let's look at the political status of children, right? Children cannot vote, right?
I always talk about that.
Right. If children can't vote, that means they're subjected to the mindsets of the parents or the adults in their community, period. Right. If children cannot drive, that means someone is literally, and I get a knock for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Anytime where you don't control where your body goes, you're being trafficked. That's a harsh word because I know a lot of people hear traffic and think, oh, no, not human trafficking. I say you can put the word human on it. You can put child on it. You can call educational trafficking. You can call minor trafficking. At the end of the day, when a child does not control where their body goes on each and every day, and an adult tells them where to go, there is a lack of power, right? So now, what else? Do they control what school they go to? No, they don't. Do they even control the living conditions of their parents? Do they control the educational level of the teachers that get hired at their school? Do they control the level of resources that their school receives? Do they control the level of, I would say, social interaction and social justice, closed off community, especially their households? A lot of people may not understand that a child's household is their first school. So if their first school has lack of resources, does not have, I'm not going to say qualified teachers, but they have underexposed teachers in the form of parents, that is definitely going to affect the child, especially when they start going to an institution where they're immediately going to be compared to the child sitting next to them. All right. Now, one thing that I do understand about children, and we've all done this, even though we may not understand how to verbally communicate this, that children, if they don't have the words to express themselves, they usually have mental conclusions that stick with them for years. All right. So I'll give you an example. If a child goes to one school and their school is run down, that's the school they attend. They have a friend across town and they go to school with them one day or just get a visit with their school, and their school is well put together, clean, resources out everywhere. They got their own stadium there. At that moment, if someone does not understand how to tell that child about the social injustice or the social inequity or social imbalance, that child can internalize it, meaning I must not mean that much because look at where I go to school at. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the social imbalance that we do experience, I am constantly concerned about the conclusions that children draw based off their environment, because some of them, they end up being producers in their environment, but a lot of them, if they don't get the right tutelage and the right direction, they become a product of their environment. They think that's the only thing they can be because that's what they were born into. Again, like I said before, the adults that they are subjected to, you'd be surprised what an adult can say to a child that will stick. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So children to me are like soil. Whatever seed that you plant in there, that soil is going to do what it's going to do. So what happens is with our children, especially now, our children, I believe this generation is the most overly exposed generation that I've ever came into contact with. Mm-hmm. And give me an example. In my day, I was born in the 80s, went to school in the 90s, went to college in, the late 2000, went to college in the 2000s, right? So, internet and Facebook and all of that stuff. We had the internet, man, but I had AOL free discs for 20 hours and stuff like that. I had the old fatback computers where the computer could get, if you weren't playing solitaire, you weren't gonna be on the computer for that long. Now you got people that's addicted to it all day. Mm-hmm. End of the day, at this moment, parents are faced with a conundrum of how in the world can I control the content that my child is exposed to? Now, the parents, today's parents, with all these children who have access to the world itself, I didn't have access to the world, Brother Jones. I had to the small world that whatever my mom could catch or whatnot, that was the limited access that I had. These kids are exposed on a rate where they're literally paying attention to every single thing. And when you're paying attention to everything, the one thing you're supposed to be paying attention on can suffer. And that's what I'm seeing. So right now I have a challenge to my parents. It's not necessarily how much your child is going to be exposed to. is how many intentional conversations do you have with your child, knowing that they're the most overexposed generation that we've ever seen? What type of information and what type of questioning, what type of relationships are you willing to have with an overexposed child, right? Because I remember, and I talk with parents like this all the time. Parents will usually say, well, back in my day, let me pause you for a second. I know back in your day, somebody said that to you and that sounds like love. You know what I mean? It sounds like, well, back in my day, this is how we did it. But one thing about love, Jones, I always tell them, love does need to be accurate.
All day.
It just can't just be passed down just because. You have to have accurate and essential and strategic love and affection. You didn't like, and I tell my parents all the time, tough love is cool as long as it works. But tough love that does not work is just accepted abuse. At the end of the day, if we're going to assume that our children are the exact same way we were in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the 90s, we are doing them a disservice, because at the end of the day, I have no idea what it feels like to be a child, to have access to all of these people telling me all these different things. I just don't know. That's the reason why when I do mentoring programs and doing consulting with families and administrators, I always let them know what makes me successful so far. And I'm still learning on a daily basis. When I start talking to a child, I sit there and learn for a month before I give them any advice. You want to know why? Because I have no idea what they've been exposed to. Now, if I go in there acting like, well, back in my day, this would work for me. I've already came in there with my ego instead of my assignment.
I agree.
And I can't complete my assignment if I'm feeding my ego. I just can't do it. So I always tell my parents, man, like, look, whatever happened to you or happened through you, you came out of it, but that doesn't mean it worked. Because let's look at how many, I meet a lot of parents right now who are still suffering from dirt low self-esteem, to the point where they are terrified of helping their children with homework because of some of the things that happened to them when they were growing up, right?
Yeah.
So back in your day may not be relevant right now. So if it may not be, don't get me wrong, I can't say is we can just dismiss everything you've ever learned. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you don't adapt to what we're looking at right now, you could be crippling your child and not even know it. You can abuse your child and call it love and confuse everybody. I've seen that. And what I'm saying, not necessarily physical and verbal abuse like you tearing the child down, but when you refuse to give them accurate and honest conversations, you are setting them up for a rude awakening, especially when this world can't wait to tell them something that they are not.
Mm-hmm.
So the social injustice has so many levels. I had to be responsible of the personal social injustice that I may be responsible for, or the social injustice that I had power enough to interject and stop. Like right now, I see so many things that really support the school to prison pipeline. And if I see the pipeline and I just sit there and look at it and say, man, that's messed up, I'm looking at the school to prison pipeline, and I walk away, my conscience will not let me sleep. Just being. I've seen some children. I've seen I put it like this. I've seen children mistreated. I've seen teachers mistreated. I've seen parents just overall disrespected. I've seen administrators who want to do the right thing, but everyone around them are blaming them and they're just trying to help. So I see an extensive level of miscommunication, and the people that get blamed the most are the people that have a big heart. I've seen it. And what's happening now, this is what social justice can do to children. And I have to go through a certain journey to it so I can let everybody know how a child can be affected. Anytime when you have stressed out adults, most adults that I've come into contact with, again, I can't talk for all adults, but a lot of adults that I come into contact with, they believe that talking is communicating. Like I said before, when we first started talking, right? A lot of the teachers, a lot of adults think just telling the child what to do is the same as teaching them what to do. The social injustice, what I'm seeing is we see a lot of telling and the teaching has stopped. What happens is you tell a child what to do. No one shows them how to do it. they do it wrong or do it in a way that does not sit well with you, here comes the punishment. And now the child is rebelling out of fear, not just because they're a bad child. They don't want to go through that whole turmoil again. So why try if no one is going to teach me the right way to do it? So I think the social injustice starts on a very, very small, minute level. It starts with the will and the ability to communicate effectively with a genuine heart. I will say that.
So basically, to give you a breath, man, you didn't answer my other two questions I was going to drop out there.
I'm going to elaborate on it, though.
I know you are. But the main thing I want to make sure we pay conscious to, and all that sounds good.
Right.
But my next question, and if you need me to talk on some things, let me know. If you got
Please do, yeah. I will.
Let me know. But I guess, why is social injustice embedded so deeply in our society?
Jones, I'm going to use your words. Benefits.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Well, they don't know the 3-4 hour discussions we have. Go ahead, break that down for them if you could, man.
People apply for specific jobs because of benefits. Yeah. No one does anything that they just hate doing, and they also get nothing out of it. Even people who hate doing what they're doing, they will continue to do it as long as they're getting some type of benefit out of it. Mm-hmm. The reason why we have social injustice, period, is because we have a large amount of people who benefit from it, regardless of skin tone. When someone is mistreated, that means someone is going to make sure that they're not mistreated. There's always been a have and a have-nots, the black and the white. And I'm not even talking about skin tone here. I'm talking about status, the ins and the outs, the people that are allowed to get in the club and the people that got to stand in line all night long. We got it everywhere we got. You know what I'm saying? Every social interaction that we have, we got people who are allowed in, and you got people who got to be on that waiting list. Let's look at it with the healthcare system. How do you get at the top of a donor list? How do you get at the top? You see what I'm saying? So one thing about social injustice, and I will tell you what I have to be very, very cautious of, not pessimistic, but cautious. I have to be careful about talking about social justice if I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I have to be careful with it. I'm not going to say I'm not going to talk about it, but I have to be very careful when I start talking about fairness and equality, because I can talk about it over here, and then all of a sudden I'm over here benefiting from capitalism. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Anytime when you have capitalism or you have an open market, anytime when you have a competition, no one is expected, all people in a race or in a competition is expected to finish the same way. If there's a such thing in all competitions, the purpose of a competition is to declare the winner and to declare the loser. It's hard to say we're going to have equity and equality and inclusion when there's competition. You understand?
All day, man.
All day. Now, I will tell you this. What I've had to mature in a way is that I do understand those words: equity, equality, inclusion, diverse, all these beautiful words. However, I've noticed more positive responses from children and adults that I work with when I say you could spend your time looking for equality, or you could spend your time looking for an opportunity. You can look for a whole bunch of fairness, or you can look for a whole bunch of greatness. A lot of our ancestors and a lot of people who helped build this country, they were never given a fair shot, but they have really swam upstream to make a name for themselves, man. And what I've really found out is that when you ask yourself to be equal to something, you need to make sure what level they're on. Mm-hmm. Or you ask for equality, because I had a mentor of mine told me, an 89-year-old mentor, said, son, you got to be careful of asking for equality, because that level of equality could be a step down.
Could be. And
I said, I don't know how to respond. He said, don't worry about it. It may not need a response. I just told you that, right? And that's how important it is to have elders in your life that can give you context. Because anytime when you want to be like someone else and be where someone else is, and I'm not saying that's what people are saying, I'm just talking about it in general. Anytime when you compete with another person, you end up not finishing your own assignment. And I think one thing about social justice is to find out what we're supposed to be doing instead of who we're not instead of, in addition to looking at who has what we think we're supposed to have. I don't necessarily think it's either or. I'm not even in a position to tell everybody a right or wrong answer, because I haven't been here long enough to tell everybody what the solution is. Only thing I can tell them as my short time on this planet so far is that when I tell kids to look for an opportunity for greatness, and when you get that opportunity, maximize it to your best potential, and then teach somebody how to do it along the way, you can, whatever you feed will grow, and whatever you focus on will be huge.
I agree.
If you focus on what somebody else is doing, you could forget to do what you're supposed to be doing. And that's just my personal.
And so basically, not to cut you off, so what God gives you as a vision doesn't necessarily mean that the vision somebody else that you be looking at is your vision. Stick to what he puts in your heart and use it, enlighten it, and grow from that.
I'm gonna build off that with an analogy. Everybody took a test in school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there might have been some classes in college or even high school when your teacher gives out different answer keys or different tests to everyone, right? I know for a fact that I've been in school where somebody looked on my and took all of my answers, put it on their paper, but they forgot to read their own test.
Didn't even take a chance to look at the test, make sure the answer.
They were so enthralled and embedded in trying to keep up or compete. Anytime when you try to keep up or compete with another person, you forget to take your own test sometimes. Mm-hmm. And when you put their answers on your test, you end up having the lowest grade on the planet.
Because and the grade is not even the value of your substance. The grade is the value of you just not taking the time to go out there and prepare and do what you need to do to get the grade that you need to get. Because you got a 0 because you copied, but you could have got a 50 and been at least halfway there with BSing your way through. But you got a 0 because you didn't take no effort to try to go out there and perpetuate yourself to be able to be a survivor, a true survivor. You just took the easy way out.
Exactly. When you take someone else's test, you neglect yours.
Correct.
And again, I'm young, considered the fight that we've had in this country. I'm talking about just as human beings overall. Everybody's trying to fight to make sure that their generation will be set up, right? Set up for success, right? Regardless of your skin tone. As a human being, life will kick you in the chest and you'll be falling down some steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, when we start talking about social injustice, we have to acknowledge that people, even though they're suffering with human life, there's a whole different whole nother level of games that are being played based off of their political grouping assignments. That if people don't have an honest conversation about those games that are being played, they can draw conclusions like children. You understand what I'm saying? So if they wake up in the same place all day and they say, well, you know what? This will never, ever get better for me. Little do they know that someone across town who doesn't have as much quote unquote education or exposure, they just so happen to know the right person, Mr. Jones.
Mm-hmm.
They just so happen to know the right person. That person told them to talk to that person, show up to this meeting, say that sentence, ask for this resource. And that's the difference between their whole family eating and their whole family starving.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that I want people to understand. Work hard and work your way up. That's a really cool conversation to have, and it's a good talk. I don't think it's a bad talk. I do worry about the imbalance that it could create, because we are seeing too many people who are not working hard who are really, really affluent.
Yeah.
That can confuse a child. So what I had to stop doing was confusing the child. I said, look, hard work will build your character. You need a really functional character in order to navigate the planet. Mm-hmm. Tell them that. I said, but based off what I've seen, you need to know a person who knows your character to open that door from time to time. And when they open that door, you're going to have enough information and enough courage and enough self-esteem to walk through that door.
But see, Big Chris, now, I'm gonna pull the comedian side out you now. You know how it is with these kids, man. And as adults, it sounds good on paper,
Mm-hmm.
But when a kid is being accosted to social injustice, and they don't even know they're being accosted to social injustice,
mm-hmm.
and they don't even understand. For example, and I'm gonna drop it down like this: if
Right.
you understand that Jim goes to a school, and the school he goes to is in a poor neighborhood where he's gonna get recycled books, where the financial system is not going to be, the school system, whatever case may be, is not going to be putting an investment in him having the up-to-date technology, and then you got that parallel. Then you got the other parallel of Jim has to deal with the peer pressures around him. He wants to have the Jordans. He wants to have the flashy gold chain.
Right.
And then the other parallel of Jim's got a cousin who lives down the street who's got the big old car, and he's got the flashy cash and everything like that. And that's the person he has to look up to as far as the person who's made it out of the system. He doesn't look at the fact that the life expectancy of that individual is going to be short term.
Right.
And then all those parallels that exist right there in his community. And then on the opposite side of town, John don't have to deal with none of that stuff. 2-parent household. John got the Xbox and the brand new iPad. Yeah, he don't have the Jordans, but his parents can afford it. He's got 2 parents when John is actually falling off. He's got a mother who can afford tutorial program, a father who makes enough money to get Jim to and from school. John to and from school. So these barriers that play into it, and then here you go, Chris, you catch this young man, Jim, the first kid, you go to the community center and he got to deal with all them barriers around his head. And you say, keep your head up, young man. You can be successful. You can be somebody special and this, that, and the third. But he's got to go back to that community where all that stuff is being peer pressured on me. And my thing is, it used to be, we used to have these conversations, man, he's 10, 12 years old, man, we need to get him. Man, brother, we got to start getting these kids at 6, 7 years old now, because these kids are getting a whole lot smarter. And I did all that just to kind of get that. My next question: how do we as adults have that conversation with kids in society about these social injustices with all those parameters I just put out there? And I especially want to talk about, I know I said Jim, but little Ray.
Yeah.
Ray.
Say the real name.
How do we get to that person to spell that, hey, young man, I know where you come from, but a lot of these social injustices, you ain't seen nothing yet. You're going to see a whole lot more coming up. And don't quit. Don't quit when you turn 16, because that's a pressure point out there like no other. Quit when you turn 16. And so how do we deal with that? And I done did enough time to get you, your saliva going in your mouth,
No, you're good.
Everything flowing and everything, to give you a chance to go ahead and talk again, brother.
Got you. So now, 2 words that I hope people hear me correctly as much as humanly possible and take it in a way that really hits home. They're simple words, but they mean everything when it comes down to talking to children in my experience. The 2 words are stop lying.
That's simple. That's simple.
I'm telling you, some of the most difficult things in the world are simple, and some of the simplest things in the world are difficult.
I agree.
I'm telling you, we live in a world of political correctness, but we don't live in a world of truth. Our children are very, very big on energy. I'll put it like this: you really want to understand how intelligent children are? Listen to newborns. they'll cry with one person and start coochie cooing with the next one. You want to? They'll let you know that this person may not be a bad person, but today this person's energy's off. And I'm going to let everybody know in the room. I don't know how to lie yet, so I'm going to tell you I'm uncomfortable. Children are the most politically incorrect people because they'll tell the truth at our wrong times.
With no filter.
With no filter. You want to know why? Because raw vegetables are the only thing that's keeping us alive.
Correct.
So when we are getting raw truth, we have an opportunity to save our society. We really do. What's happening now is we've lied to ourselves so long that it's beginning to seem like it could be true, but we still know it isn't. It's just making us a little bit more comfortable. I'm going to give everybody who's listening an analogy. Always think about a song that you really don't even like that's been played on the radio. You really can't even stand that song.
But you know it.
You don't even like it. right? However, every time you get in the car, guess what? It's playing again, isn't it? Right? So now it's playing again. All of a sudden, you start noticing, dang, this song has played twice, and I've been in the car for 10 minutes.
Jesus.
They're repeating it. Now, you don't like this song. You get out, go to grocery store, do a couple of errands. You get back in there, guess what song is playing?
That same song.
Now, guess what? At this moment, the repetition of that lie has desensitized you. You don't even feel like turning that song off anymore. Now, check this out. You still don't like it, but you've been desensitized to the point you're not even going to check it anymore because you've accepted it as the norm. It's nothing I can do about it. They're going to keep playing it, so why fight it? Mm-hmm. What happens, Brother Jones? Couple of weeks of that happening over and over again, you in a 40-minute commute to your job, on the way and on the way back home. You've heard that song 20 times on the way there and on the way back for 3 weeks straight. Guess what now when you're in your home and you're just chilling, trying to vibe with your family, when that song comes on, you're going to start knowing that your body language is going to change and your head may start bobbing. And next thing you know, you find out you know the words and you've never even read the lyrics. You want to know why? Repetition creates false realities. That's what I'm dealing with. That's what we're all dealing with. I put it like this. Some of the things that we lie to our children about, and we like to put it because we like to say, well, I want to protect your childhood. How can you protect a childhood with a lie? That is my question to all the adults on the panel. All of my adults who are looking at this right now, I do understand that you don't want your child to be exposed, but I will say this. If things are happening in their neighborhood that's affecting the bottom dollar with their resources, one of the best things you can do to a child is let them know that I do not know what's happening, but I feel the way you feel. How about this? How about you walk with me so we can learn what's happening together instead of just saying, well, you just need to work hard, man, and get up out of here. That's dismissive. Although it may be true, at the end of the day, it's imbalanced. So I put like this. If a child says, Mr. Pugh, why does our neighborhood look like this? I say, you know what? I notice it too. And as an adult, I don't feel ashamed, but I feel challenged that I don't know that answer for you. How about this? How about I go and do some research and I'm going to share with you that information and whatever work we need to do to make sure our community is a little bit better, I want to do it with you. Instead of saying, well, they don't care about us. Listen, that may be a true statement. What I'm saying is that's an incomplete statement. That still leaves a child to draw conclusions, and they haven't even been on this planet long enough yet. A child is forced to draw conclusions because they haven't been exposed to a lot of things. So we just sit there and give them a little bit and let them fill in the blanks with information they don't know. Guess what I just did, Brother Jones? I just set you up for failure, telling you that you should just work hard. I set you up for failure in the name of love. No, point blank, period. I don't care what pep talk we give ourselves to say, well, that was the same talk they gave for me and look where I'm at now. That doesn't mean that child is going to get the same breaks as you. All of us have had challenges, but these challenges are accelerated now for our babies, man. That's all I'm just saying. And I can't point the finger because I don't know all parents. I'm just letting you know what I'm seeing. It's a lot of people lying to kids. It's a lot of kids lying to parents because they see parents lying. So they know, hey, if I lie long enough, y'all going to accept it because y'all lying to me. Straight up. So the 2 words, like I said, when I started this talk, simple. Stop
lying.
Lying. It sounds like, man, that's too simple. No, it ain't. Because you'd be surprised how hard it is for people to stop lying. Listen, most of us have lied to get where we're at. Some of us have lied to get our jobs. Some people have lied to get their spouse. Some people have lied to get approved for a loan. But like this, a lot of us wouldn't even know who we are without lies. So it's really, literally, some people think telling the truth will ruin their resources. Telling the truth will literally, in this world that we're living in, because I'm not asking you to do something that I'm just an expert at. Every day I wake up, when someone asks me a question, I'll be like, hey, man, don't say nothing that ain't true. Even if you don't know the answer to it, How about you just admit up front, hey man, I don't know the answer to it, but I give you a response. That's how I can admit that I don't know the information. So the child won't just be leaning on to me saying, well, he must know, he gave me an answer. No, I don't know the answer to that, Ray, or Jim, or Tim, or whatever your name is. Lisa, I don't know the answer to that question, but guess what I'm going to do? Now, as an adult that claims that he cares about you, I'm not going to ignore your question. Well, let's talk about when you want me to get an answer for your working answer, and let's see how we can build on that response that I'm going to give you so you know how to critically think to really put yourself in a better situation that I'm in. Because I'm going to be honest with you. For you to be 10 years old, ask me a question that I don't know, that means you might have been more interested than I am. That means you have the ability to set up this world better than me, and I got quote unquote degrees. But this child just asked me a question that I don't know about because this child may have been given the assignment to fix a problem I've never seen before. That's social justice.
A child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. Y'all remember that?
You remember that? You already know.
Remember that?
You already know.
The message, baby. The message is true. The message is true.
Yep.
Man, I don't even know where to go at, man.
I need to hear from. I would like to hear from you, John. I got a question.
Come on. You know what? I'm ready.
Yeah, and I want to know this just based off of all the stuff that you've been teaching me for the last 10 to 15 years, man. I'm interested, and I want to ask you this. I'm pretty sure I probably asked you this before, but I'm asking in a way that a lot of people can possibly understand. All right?
I'm listening.
Based off your experiences, professional, political, personal, any category you want to add to that. I'm not going to ask you what would you have done differently, because that's a padded question. What are you going to do now because of what you found out?
That's a great question, man. As you remember,
keep it general. Keep it general.
No. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it whatever comes off my dome, because when you come off the dome, it's usually the truth.
There you go. Stop lying. Don't lie.
But keep it kosher, keep it plain. You already remember from back in the day, before I even got into politics and anything like that, before I got on any of these boards and got deep into this realm. You know, I was doing my chemical engineer thing, chilling, making good money, living a single life and everything like that. And I got involved into the Omega Gent program, the mentoring program with my kids and everything like that.
Right.
I didn't come back to Savannah to do no mentoring program, nothing like that. I came back to Savannah to make money, take care of my family, and chill. I had no desire to get into any kind of committal, politics, anything like that.
Right.
My good friend Craig Gordon, State Rep Craig Gordon, man, you need to come back. You came back. You need to get into politics. I said, man, I don't want anything to do with that kind of stuff. Shots out Craig Gordon. I put your name out there. But the piece was, I just wanted to just sit and chill. But unfortunately, God wouldn't let me do that. And, the Megagent program fell in my lap. Qasim Hodges, I think he was on the chat earlier. One of my kids, he asked me, hey, man, could you be our advisor for the program?
Right.
Like, okay, this can't be too hard. I'll do it for a couple of years, work with him. And so what I realized, and I say all this, they say this, I thought that when back then, man, I'm going to be the advisor for the Omega Gent program. This is a great program. Man, I'm helping young men's lives and fixing the problem. Man, this is great. This is wonderful. And I'm continues to do this, but I ain't got no resources coming. And so I started to ask for resources to come, and resources not coming. People you think that, hey man, they see me out here with these pictures and these kids, and I'm out here doing all this great things. These young men are going off to graduate. Going to graduate high school, going to college, doing great things. Man, I'm gonna have all these resources coming to me. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. I put this curriculum out here, bomb ass curriculum. Put this thing out here as far as what's going on in the community to help me move this program where I can be at all 8 schools at the time. Thinking that everybody's gonna support me, everything like that. You know what? Nobody support me, and now I understand why they didn't support me.
Why is
it's
that?
Because simple fact is, what I was doing was a downgrade to the narrative they wanted to have happen. And so the narrative needed to be, we need these kids disenfranchised. We need these kids disabled. We need these kids at a point where they're not productive citizens in our community, because you know what? When they're not productive community inputs, then they're soldiers in a workforce cycle that exists in our community. And when you only have a certain level of education attainment, then you can only work in certain cycles. Correct. Unless you know how to, work that education attainment and challenge the system. And my thing is, in mass numbers, that don't exist. Gotcha. That exists in the 15, 20 percentile where you ain't got to have a college degree or even a high school degree and a high school diploma, and you can still make it out there. I'm not saying that it's impossible. What I'm saying is, in mass numbers, it's impossible to have a high school diploma. And even in certain levels, in certain disciplines, it's impossible to make it if you don't have a master's or PhD in certain capacities. And so what I've noticed and what I've seen now is, 4 years into politics, or 3.5 years into politics, man, there go the reason why the hustle is that strong. Because we're so busy fighting each other, we don't even see the grass on the other side is greener. Right. Because it's nothing wrong with competition. I want to make sure I clarify that. Right. I embrace competition. I embrace that. Functional competition. But when the competition is over, we should congratulate each other and support each other. Right. Right. And that's the imbalance. And I'm not just talking about election cycles. I'm just talking about in life itself and the community itself. Correct. We should be out here supporting each other. But most of the imbalances, most of the fights, most of the things that I get and experience don't come from the people you think it should come from. It come right in my own backyard, my own community. And so, you know what? I don't want to get off my stoop, but I'm trying to answer your question. No. You answered. I need this. Being thought-provoking when I answer your question. I think what has to happen is the message needs to be clear. I can tell you what privilege do. Privilege can hate each other. They can hate each other guts, right? But they'll never let me and you know that, Chris. Not at all. Privilege will never let me and you know that, because you know why? Privilege understands united together, they can move narratives faster than being out here nitpicking and calling each other names and pushing each other out in the community and saying each other ain't worth nothing. The players are never allowed on the owner's call. Correct. And you know why that? Because if the players start getting on the owner's call, they'll understand how to become a what? Owner. And the problem with our community, and I'm just going to stress it and be what it is, forthright coming, the problem in our community is we don't own the wealth, like I said, starting off in an early conversation. When I say, when are we going to start become thought-provoking when we go on the Bobos and say, hey, man, everybody in here in Bobos, same color skin I am. So maybe what I need to find out what I need to do, because I see nothing but money in this building. And so why am I not becoming JoJo's? Bobos is good, but JoJo's is better. And putting it right there in the community and say, start serving, because it's about dollars. And I want to make sure we clear on this. When you get in those entrepreneurial zones, you don't go out there entrepreneuring for a color as far as race is concerned. You entrepreneur for the only color out there, which is green. Green. And so you make sure you have something that's profiteer that people can invest in from all races, all colors, and everything like that. But what I am saying is, if you know that you walk in a building and it's 35 people on 4th of July weekend, and all 35 people share the same skin tone you in, and you right now struggling, you ain't got no job, no business, anything like that, you just saw your own opportunity. Straight up. When are we going to wake up as a group of people and say, hey, that's the narrative we need to start thinking about? When are we going to wake up as a group of people and say, hey, our schools are jacked up in our communities? Yes. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't no blame on the Board of Education. Nope. That ain't no blame on the people, the superintendent, or any of those people in those elected officials positions. That's a blame on us as parents first. Because you know what? Because I guarantee those same schools that we're talking about, when I go to the PTA meeting, there are more people in this room right now than at that PTA meeting. Yes. And this is me and you in this room right now, brother. That's correct. So when we want to identify and we want to make sure we do what we got to do to fix the problem, part of the problem is, guess what? We got to look internally on ourselves and say, what are we doing to mask the problem? What are we doing to insinuate the problem or make the problem further worse in our own community, man? You don't help your enemy. This one thing my mentor told me is that this world already has enough traps for you. You don't have to skip directly into them. They got to set up against you.
You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about a group. I'm just talking about life. Life is going to have its challenges, right? Life don't need help kicking you in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And the sad part about it is, the sad part of it is, Chris, if I was out here ratting out all the people that are downtrodden and been destroying the community and everything like that, I would have 95 likes and 95 people on here liking this whole conversation and being, yeah, F them and forget them in this answer. But my thing is, Chris, I'm always going to take the high road. And I've learned later in my life to take the high road because you know what? I don't know what young person out there is looking to see what kind of example I'm leading right here.
Exactly.
And so my thing is, I don't mind people when they come against me. But you know what? I'm not going to put the level of attitude out there so somebody else can say, yeah, James is just as bad as those problematic people who talk about James Jones.
Basically what you just said to me, based off the words, and this is my conclusion from your words, your assignment is way more important than your emotion.
Correct.
That's what I heard you say.
Correct. And a lot of times, and Dr. Pugh, a lot of times we think that we should connect to those people, the movers and shakers in our world, and those movers and shakers in our world are going to be the ones who are going to fix the narrative. But the sad part about it is those movers and shakers have been in those circles so long, and the narrative has been stuck so long. Are they really the answer to what we need in our community?
Wow.
Or is it those individuals who have not had a chance to be a mover and shaker in our community are the individuals we need to be pressing upon to make sure that those people are the people that help move the narrative forward?
Right.
Only for what it is. You know, because I'll be the first one to say, Chris Pugh, as far as my finances is concerned, I'm a poor, black, broke Negro. Yeah. I can tell you that right. But I can tell you one thing I got a knowledge up here, a lot of knowledge up here that God has invoked in my spirit, in my mind, in my heart. And guess what I'm going to do with that? I'm going to make sure I share it with the next generation. Now, if they want to accept it, they want to accept it, they accept. They want to reject it, they reject it. But that's on them. But I'm not going to further perpetuate the cycle that's been destroying our community year in, year out, decade in, decade out, and it's been keeping us separate from each other.
You know what?
Did I answer your question?
Man, you answered my question and gave me like 20 more I need to ask you in the next month.
Well, you know, we're gonna do our talk, and and my thing is I'm gonna keep talking until we don't think we need to talk anymore. I know we normally get off at 8.
No. I'm not in a rush.
I want to make sure anything we need to talk about, answer, get off our heads, our minds, our chest. Let's move on it, meditate on it, and let's make it happen, man.
I will put it like this, because you know, every day is not promised, and every moment is not repetitive. So this moment that I have with you, I do want to maximize it, because like one thing about social media, sometimes it can give you a lyric that based off who's looking and who's liking, that your message is not being seen and heard and, you know, digested, you know what I mean? Or ingested, or whatever, right? So
Chris, before you go, I want you to know that somebody just, and I know you said we shouldn't do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. We got a young lady who just said, so true, take the high road. My 12-year-old is listening very intently to this video with me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Make sure you understand, if we didn't reach anybody else, we reached one person. And that's more valuable than anything else, my friend.
Now look at the words she just used, right?
I'm listening.
Listening very intently. That means that 12-year-old is now listening, that they're working on their intentions. Guess what happens? That 12-year-old knows now that some adults are still learning how not to lie, right? Now that 12-year-old saying, you know what? If I start telling the truth now and with intent and admitting when I don't know anything, and as soon as I admit that I don't know something, I create opportunities to go get smarter. That's all I got to do is stop lying and I'm going to be more intelligent. What? And you at 12 and you know something that some people are finding this out at 50 and 60 years old? That 12-year-old, if you listening right now, I don't know who you are, but I'm glad that you listening with intent. You have answers that we need on this earth. I don't know who you are, but listen to me clearly. Whoever you are, you were born with a whole bunch of answers. You'll go through some things that will make those answers come out. As soon as those answers come out, I'm going to ask you to share them specifically to people that ask them, but give other people the opportunity to learn from them anyway. You don't want to wait on people asking you things in order for you to share. Sometimes your light is going to be so bright, just turn on your light, and whoever needs it, they're going to gravitate to it. Now, the people who don't like light, they usually want to get some rest and they don't feel like listening to you. Put like this. Most people who don't feel like their eyes being open, the first thing they want to do is turn off the light. Only thing I want you to do is just keep it shining, because people who may not be ready for your light will convince you that you do not have one. Do not listen to that radio just because it's in repeat over and over again. Whoever created you, your mother, and your eternal source, they understand who you are and what you're made out of. Anybody who did not have any step or any hand in making you, they can't tell you what you were born for. That's not our jurisdiction. We don't even have that information. It's going to be up to you to teach us who made you. And you're going to need a lot of confidence. You're going to need a lot of mistakes. You're going to need to listen to a lot of elders. Not old people, elders. You got a lot of old people. You need elders, not just old people. And the only way you're going to find out the difference between the elder and the old person, ask them to stop lying. When you engage in a conversation with them some questions. And before you answer my questions, will you promise me to not lie to me? And if you got the truth, but you don't think I'm ready for it, just please tell me that you're too young to know the truth yet, but I acknowledge your question. Sometimes you're going to have to help adults be adults.
It's powerful there, right there.
You're going to have to help us, because most of us we're in this groove of lying to you so much, and we're calling it love. And next time somebody say they love you, don't say you love them back until you know what they mean. I know we want to educate you, but I will tell you this. You were given some information that we need too.
And the young man's name is Tobias, and he was a student nominated from his high school last year to attend Washington, D.C.'s Envision Conference for his leadership skills.
Boom. All right. So guess what? Only thing he was doing is being himself. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to acknowledge you, but it's kind of hard to congratulate you for being who you are. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to congratulate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't deserve it. What I'm saying is you just need to have enough courage to be yourself, and then we'll be able to witness it. And everybody who wants to feed that encouragement will gravitate to you. All right? We will gravitate to you. Tobias, I'm going to remember that name. And I'm going to ask his parent to reach out to me because I have something for him.
Okay. And we also know the darkness cannot dwell where the light is.
Sure can't. Sure can't.
That's the truth. Well, we answered all the questions. You got anything else for me, brother?
Well, I'll put like this. I don't want to hold too long, but I do want.
You're good, man.
I'm learning every day that all of us we know how to talk. Like I mentioned this before, but I have a feeling that somebody probably need to hear this. So let me just say this on my heart. A lot of us have been taught how to talk, but very few of us have been told how to communicate. All right. A lot of us are saying things just for the sake of saying things, and we're repeating things because that's all we know. And most of us are terrified of looking like we don't know what we're talking about. I will challenge all the adults and all the children, anybody who's listening to this. Please have enough courage to make your mistakes, because your mistakes are the research we need in order for you to fix the problems we're going to present to you anyway. Please do not be scared to impress people that you don't even need to impress. If you think you need to impress us, that means you have the wrong impression.
Right on.
I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. Well, sick. And today's topic, and we're going to probably, you know what? I think we're going to come up with some new questions. We're going to do this next Thursday, big dog.
I got to. This is what I need to do.
I'm going to bring maybe 2 or 3 other people in the conversation that will kind of, kind of getting it rolling. Let's make this a 4-part series, maybe 3 more times on it.
I'm with it.
And do some other stuff with it. but sick, y'all, sick. Social injustice, conducting, confusing, conflicting. We putting all kind of C's in there because there's so many different C's in there.
All day.
Kids.
All day.
Sick. And we got to break the sickness in our community, y'all. And that's what it's all about. The sickness tied to social justice and social injustice, we got to break it. And part of this piece right here is part of this conversation that we had here tonight. Hey, bro, love you to death, man. You know how the wife doing? How mama doing?
Hey, let's show everybody what the
how we do when we leave.
Yeah, man. All right.
How's the wife doing?
Hey, man, she's doing well, man. She's healthy. She's happy. We just went and we ate some salmon today. We trying to get off chicken. I need a Bible for that. However, we trying. But she's doing well, man. Mom Dukes is good. Family's doing good. You know, we're still social distancing, but the love and the health is there. So we just gonna keep it trucking. So
before you ask me how I'm doing, how grandmama doing, we ain't mentioned grandmama.
Hey, no, now see, you know what? You're right, because I said family. Let me just give honor to, to the queen. You know what I mean? My grandma's doing exceptionally well. All right. The reason why you asked me that is because I forgot to call her today. I'm gonna pay for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you better call her after this call.
I definitely will, because I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing in my profession is her. She worked in the school system, and she taught every child that she came into contact with. And all the things that I'm telling everybody today, I got it directly from her and my mother. Straight up. So how's the first lady?
First lady, I don't know. It's 8:14. I don't know where she at, but we gonna call her as soon as this call is over. Y'all know, and I ain't see her name pop up on here. She probably got a board meeting or something going on.
I got you.
Johannes is in Atlanta. I go pick him up tomorrow afternoon at the county commission meeting.
Right.
I haven't seen him in 30 days, so I probably y'all won't hear from me, talk to me, anything other than me putting social media pictures up about me and my buddy reconnecting. So I haven't seen him about 30 days. And so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I don't even hear from my grandparents or his grandparents, my parents, when he in Atlanta, because that joker, he ain't doing nothing but eating Taco Bell all day, every day, and going to Walmart, and he being spoiled to death. So, I got a 35-day breakdown of trying to defrag him, praying that COVID-19 goes far away, because if COVID-19 don't go far away, then I got to have an even longer breakdown, because that joker going to be in the house with me with a computer every single day, and he gonna do everything he can to social distance himself away from that computer and not do his schoolwork. So, that's what I gotta look forward to in August, man. I'm praying that we can get back in some kind of fashion where they can get in some kind of instructional zone. However, if we need to be home, we're gonna be home, and we're gonna learn, and we're gonna educate, because as you already know, education is probably one of the greatest gifts that we can ever get, that we always turn away. And I do everything I can to make sure we get educated. And hey, my mama done already answered for me. He good right here in Atlanta. I can't get no help here, bro. But I forgot she on this thing here. But it's a blessing to have parents like that. Making sure that they can spoil them like that. And it's a blessing that I got to break.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break it.
Gotcha.
That's with love and admiration. Appreciate it. Next week when we get together. What we say, Bubba?
You mind if I leave some contact information just in case of somebody?
Man, that's your job to leave the contact information. After I finish, that's your job. I wouldn't expect anything otherwise.
Do you think?
What I also want to talk about, man, is let's develop the subject matter between me and you going into next week. I think we had a good dialogue with this piece right here. And I think that we can make sure we can motivate this heavy. I think we can break some heavy hitters in this conversation.
Of course.
We need to expand past 3 weeks. We can. I just want 4 weeks if possible. I think this is something we can take and make something grow and be something positive. I don't want to drown it out too deep, but I do want to bring some effective conversation people to the table.
I'll put like this: Q&A is always a sheer clear way. Q&A. So I put like this: the more, even if they can't be on live, if they can direct some questions to you, things that they need to hear, and they say, for instance, if they can't come on here live, they can get the recording and they can look at these things in front of their children. And honestly, too, sometimes I want to, the things that you're recording, I can see teachers playing this in their classrooms while their children are reading, or, sitting back and not having things after their tests. they can just listen to these conversations and then they can move on with life after that. So, yeah.
Okay, put your information out there, Bubba.
Got you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dr. Marion Christopher Pugh.
Say that again.
Dr. Marion Christopher Pugh.
I love it, man.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm from Atlanta. I'm born in Atlanta, Georgia, raised in Ellenwood, Georgia, product of the DeKalb County school system. You already know how we do it. Went to Cedar Grove High School, man. Shout out to Ellenwood. You can reach me on Instagram under Manhood Mindset. You can reach me on Twitter under Manhood Mindset. That's ManhoodMindset. I'm Christopher Pugh on Facebook. You can email me directly at my personal email, mchristopherpugh@gmail.com. That's mchristopherpugh@gmail.com. Or you can email me at my business website, info@manhoodmindset.com. All right. You can go to the website, manhoodmindset.com, set up a consultation. I do consult with parents, children, anybody who's needing mentors over the summer, something that to keep your child critically thinking about their next steps in life. And also, too, I'm helping parents and even grandparents how to really interact with their children and their family and how to interact with each other. All right. I'm an educational consultant. In the last couple of years in Bullitt County, I've been to a couple of schools. I've had year-long contracts with them where I actually do mentoring programs with the kids. And I also do training and type of administrative support for the teachers and administrators. I also do diversity training for several counties around the state. So if you know anybody who could benefit from some of the things that we talked about tonight, and I talk about all the topics that we have been told not to talk about: race, class, sexuality, religion, anything that makes people have conflict, I know how to communicate about. So if you need any type of mediation skills, I have over 25 years of mediation skills, all the way dating all the way back to middle school. I was a peer mediator, and the people that couldn't even get along in middle school, I was taken out of class by teachers to help people get along. So I know what I'm straight
hey,
up.
They want that email address one more time.
Okay, email address is mchristopherpugh@gmail.com. That's my personal email address. If you'd like to email my business, is info@manhoodmindset.com. But you can reach me at my personal email address. And I do consultations. I want to tell parents right now, invest in your children. Some of the things that you invest in, they last a lot longer than just a favor. All right. So when we talk about it, it's not necessarily about the money, but it's about the investment. Time is more precious than that money. So the things that you talk about in front of those children, regardless of what we talk about with business, the things that are going to happen behind closed doors after we get off the phone, that's what your child is going to be paying attention to. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm. Did y'all give me an email address one more time, just in case they didn't catch it?
No problem. mchristopherpugh@gmail.com or info@manhoodmindset.com. Instagram and Twitter is Manhood Mindset. You can DM me as well. I'm not just stuck up on email. You can DM me on Instagram and Twitter and all of that stuff, and we'll get it done.
And I want y'all to understand and know I am a firm supporter of Dr. Christopher Pugh, because you know what? He earned that PhD.
Hey, man.
They put him through hell for that PhD. And he humble about it, but putting him through hell put me through hell because I had to be there to make sure this brother stuck through it all the way through.
Straight up. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So,
yes, you did.
I'm one of the mentors that's extremely proud of you, brother. You already know that. I'm your biggest supporter.
Thank you.
I'm his I'm his manager, his agent, all that other good stuff like
everything.
That, voluntarily, because you know what? This brother right here is going to go on to do great things in our community. And we got to make sure that we take the people behind us and support them and push them. And I know this brother does this in our community, and we need more people like this in our community to push it forward. We can probably talk all day, give each other kudos all day, my friend.
Yeah, man.
We got another show. Everybody, tune in 7:00 next week, Thursday. I'm going to have Dr. Pugh back here. If not, we're going to find a worthy substitute. But I think I'm going to be able to come strong on me into being here next week. I don't think I have to, but you know, we might have.
Hey, off the record, the haze is continuous, so I'm on
all day long, all day, every day. They know how it go. They know how it go.
I know it. Yeah.
But we're going to try to let's see if we can find 2 more people, maybe a female, maybe a young person, something like that, so we can expand this conversation, because I think this is a conversation worthy that actually can build your base as far as subject matter in our community, and then not just but build our base and get better understanding what we need to bring to the table.
I have a suggestion, man. If you want to talk about social justice, we may need to talk to a social worker.
Hey man, let's find one who's willing to come on. Some people,
true.
People are fearful of jobs. That's why I don't really go out there and talk.
I know.
Outside too much in the world. I want to bring a police officer on, but I may get too radical for a police officer. I could probably bring a chief on or something like that. But a regular police officer,
retired
police officer. Yeah, but I don't. But with retired folk, they kind of get, the subject matter. And it's I gotta find me one of the retired ones who fidgety.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we really need to look at, man.
That's hilarious.
But my thing is, man, I don't want to ramble on. I do want to make sure that I think that it was a wealth of knowledge shared here today.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of subject matter we can build on this piece right here.
Correct.
I want to go into the archives. I'm gonna probably bring some famous people in this conversation, bring some non-famous people in the conversation, but I really want to bring some people who are gonna bring some subject matter to the conversation at hand. And
sound good.
We'll get together about this. Appreciate it again. Someone just offered us Officer Philip Green at Garden City Police Department. We'll make sure I talk to him and see if he'll jump on the call. But at that, man.
And last but not least,
my brother.
If people want to cash at me too, just email me, ask me about the cash app. I don't do it
man, I ain't mad at you.
I am in student loan debt. So that stuff costs money. So if you got anything from me today and you want to donate or help me get materials and develop this book that I'm working on, cash at me straight up. Email me direct, give you the cash app.
Will do. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate those people who took in time to turn in. I'll give you a call probably tomorrow, Doc. All right, man. Love you, man.
Most definitely love you too, Doc.
Peace.
Peace.